The Paracave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Jack's Pale Ale, exclusively available at Parramatta Eels Club, Shannon Cooney from Glenmore Park Realty, BTZD Clothing, and the official media partner of the Paracave Podcast, the Parramatta Times.
Welcome to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Paracave.
And today on the podcast, I've got a legend joining me once again because another Eels jersey has dropped, and look, all the clubs will drop a Indigenous jersey with Indigenous round 12 this year. And look, I've got the master, I've got the legend, Thom from Retro Rugba Leeg. How you going, mate?
Great, Troy. It's great to be back. We're in the thick of jersey season at the moment. We've just come out of Anzac season. We're firmly into Indigenous season. And then after that, I feel we may have a spattering of a few heritage jerseys left before the year's out too.
Okay, so I was just about to ask you that. So with the heritage jerseys, I guess that's up to the different clubs, isn't it, as to when they bring those out throughout the year, if they're going to bring one out, isn't it?
Yeah, so clubs have to bring out a minimum of 3 jerseys a year. A home, away, and an Indigenous one is compulsory at this point in time. Others are to their discretion. And so, we've seen a bunch of teams do it this year. I know there is one club that was hoping to bring theirs out already, but because of a manufacturing error, that's been delayed, and that may be closer to June coming out for them now. But some will use it as an excuse to pump that out at Magic Round. The Gold Coast Titans just released their member or city jersey the other day. So it's not a heritage jersey, but they'll wear that at Magic Round and on member round, which I'm not sure exactly what round that is. That was a really cool, fun, beachy design one that was done by co-done by a member and also the Dynasty team. So there'll still be a few jerseys left to come before the year's out.
Yeah, well, that'll keep you busy, that's for sure, I guess, throughout the year. And we saw the Eels bring out their heritage jersey on Easter Monday, a throwback to 2001. We saw the Bulldogs bring out their one for their game against the Roosters on Good Friday. Was that Good Friday? No. It was after.
Around 3 or 4.
Yeah, it was quite early on, but that was celebrating their 2004 premiership. So I guess it's for clubs with like anniversaries of big games and things like that, where they
I think that's how they'll use it. I don't think we'll see teams putting out heritage jerseys every year. It'll be an every now and then kind of thing. Teams would probably be wise to kind of save it up for the big occasions. That's why I was surprised Canberra didn't do something for this year, given it's 94. That was their big win against the Bulldogs. Supposedly their home jersey is supposed to be like a heritage jersey, but their home jersey just looks like their home jersey always does. So, but apparently if you've seen their warm-up tee, which is primarily white with kind of yellow, blue and green zigzags, that mirrors a 94 away jersey or a 94 something else that they wore then too. And they did have a special retro
pre-season jersey or something like that. I think they had
something like that. And the other is that they did release a special retro this year through Tidwell that was only available through the Canberra shop. And it has a special Winfield patch on the side for that 94 grand final. There was a rumour or a miscommunicated journal article about them, a newspaper article, that the team was going to wear those jerseys on the field at Magic Round. That's absolutely not happening. It was a confusion that the team from 94 who turn up on the day to celebrate that will be wearing those jerseys. So the Laurie Dailies and the like, not the Canberra Raiders on the field.
Right. Well, just before we get into the Eels Indigenous jersey for 2024, I usually notice the tops that you're wearing, and they're usually of clubs that I know of, but what have you got on there? What's that one?
This is my jumper for our local side on the Sunshine Coast called the Narimba Hurricanes. It's only our 3rd year of existence.
Wow, yeah.
We're just a club. We're just juniors at this stage. So I think under 10s is the highest grade we have. So I coach the under 7s along with my other coach, Matty. And we're just plugging away. It's very wet here at the moment. So we only get to train every now and then because the fields are so wet. But we're doing our best in, little kids rugby league. So,
nice. Nice. Excellent. All right, well, let's get into the Eels Indigenous jersey for 2024. It was released on Monday night at 6 p.m. My first look at it at 6 p.m, I thought, wow, this one looks really, really good. And, obviously modelled there by Jermaine Hopgood, an Indigenous player. And the story is relatively around him as well. So where would you like to start on the Eels Indigenous jersey?
Well, let's just start with the pure aesthetic. I mean, like, in terms of pure visuals, this is the best Parramatta jersey of the year. Hands down. It looks awesome. Like, just looks cool. It's one of the better Indigenous jerseys so far of the year. The colours pop. The design looks really good. It's really 3D in that, like, it goes front to back. It's not leaving big panels untouched.
Yep.
West Tigers just put out theirs, and I think it looks pretty good too, but the top half of the jersey is pretty untouched. It's just orange with the white V, where this thing is just covered with Indige artwork, and I think it looks awesome.
And what is the story about this one? Because it's from, apparently the story is from Jermaine's journey, from where he was to where he is now at Parramatta.
Well, when I read the articles and stuff about it, it looks like there was a combined effort between what is Jermaine's story and also what is kind of the story of Parramatta. So the big Jermaine part is the owl. So apparently the owl is his totem. And so he worked on this together with an Indigenous artist. I think his name's Sean Duncan. Yeah, Sean Duncan Kinchela. And so they collabed on this one. And I believe, Sean did a lot of the heavy lifting, but it was Jermaine who kind of helped put it all together too. So starting off, we've got the owl, which is Jermaine's totem. If you're looking at this jersey, you'll see above the owl is kind of some squiggly, kind of wavy lines. You might think that's a river, but it's not. It's actually supposed to be the hills, and I assume that means the hills around Parramatta. Behind those hills, you'll have some more kind of jagged lines. That's the mountains that represent the Blue Mountains. And above them, you've got the night sky. And if you look under the NRL logo, and it's a shame that it's kind of hidden under the logo, you have that classic dark emu. This is an Indigenous thing that people would look up into the sky, and with their constellations, this is one that they would see in the sky. It's actually created by the negative space around the Milky Way. It's really cool. It's a shame that it got hidden there. If you go down the other way, though, so now we're coming kind of south past the owl, we have a river, which represents the Parramatta River, or in the Indigenous language, the Parramatta River. We have some meeting places, and they're the circles with the kind of C shapes around it. You got to think in Indigenous artwork, you're usually looking top down.
Okay.
So when you see those C shapes around the circle, that's a top-down view of people sitting around a circle. That's a meeting place. That's a gathering place. Underneath that, you have another kind of river formation, which is just more the river bank, and you'll have some arrows, what looks like arrows. If you head in the opposite direction of the arrows, that's actually the direction the kangaroo is jumping, their kangaroo footprints. And then you'll have the kangaroo at the very bottom there. And that pretty well rounds out the features on the front. There's two circles on the back that are also on the front, but a little hard to see, which are kind of fish circles, or fishing spots, I believe. But that kind of makes up the elements of the design.
Yeah, no, as I said, when I first saw it, I thought, wow, this looks really, really good. I mean, you can see in my background here, there's a few of the other Indigenous jerseys from over the years. I think that one over my, right shoulder was last year's one. It really does give the blue and gold showing through it. And yeah, I just think it's weird. Is this how many clubs have released their Indigenous jersey that you can think of?
Roosters, West Tigers. So George have released their design, but we haven't seen it on a jersey yet. They've just released the artwork back last year. Canberra, Penrith, but Penrith, they were so lazy. They just copied and pasted last year's and changed the colour scheme from the 03 colours to the modern colours. So
that's a bit unusual from a premiership winning club that usually has such high standards.
Something's going on at Penrith.
Although they did do their, was it Pacifica jersey as well earlier on?
Yeah, so that's what I thought. I didn't know if that was going to replace their Indigenous jersey. It obviously hasn't. But their merch has gone really off the boil this year. Panther stuff's usually really cool. And O'Neill's have kind of done a good job with them in the past. But this year, it just seems to all ground to a halt. So not exactly sure what the story is there. Just trying to think. We haven't seen anything from the Broncos yet. Yeah, I'd have to go back. I'd say we're about 4 or 5. I'd have to have a look. There might be one that I'm missing. Warriors will have one coming very soon. I mean, every club will have to have one. And be interested to see what the Sharks produce. They usually do some pretty good Indige ones too.
So then does this one rate at the top of the tree so far?
I can't give away my rankings yet because like with my Anzac rankings, which cheeky plug, you can go to at Retro Rugby League on Instagram or TikTok, and you can see my 13 best and worst Anzac jerseys in 2024 there. I'll wait until I see them all, and it's also for me very important to see them on the field.
That's true.
How they present on the field can change because there were some Anzac ones that their rankings changed once I saw them on the field.
Yes, no, that's true. I forgot about that one. But look, I'm just going to give away a little secret here. I was quite happy with the ranking that you gave the Parramatta Eels Anzac jersey. That was quite nice. But as you said, there also goes behind the story as well of what is on the jersey as well. So that was a good one as well. It'll be interesting to see on the back of this one what they'll obviously go with a gold number. You'd like to think that they would, I'd say, on a predominantly blue background.
They might, or it might even be like a gold edging with the white, or it might just be all white number. I'm not sure. My guess would be that, say it's a number 7, that the bulk of the 7 will be white with a possible gold border. But we haven't seen any player mock-ups yet to know what that looks like.
Yeah, because I think sometimes with Indigenous jerseys, because there is so much designs on them, it can get very hard to put a number on there to stand out.
And that's actually, now that you bring that up, that's a very good point. Of the teams that have released Indigenous jerseys so far, with the exception, the Roosters were kind of up there, but Parramatta have done the best job at incorporating their sponsors and the design together. Usually you just have this big block shoved over the top. But the fact that Ayland have said, no, you just weave your design all through it and we're sweet with that, that looks really good. I mean, some of those jerseys behind you Ayland did that. It's just big white bars or gold bars. But not this time. They just said, you just weave it in there and we'll make it work. And teams appreciate that. Fans appreciate that. Indigenous artists appreciate that. Artists in general appreciate that. It just looks much better when sponsors work together with designers instead of butting heads. And I don't know why, to this day, Newcastle and NIB will not work together. Please, for all of us, work together. Or the Auckland Blues, who have NIB the sponsor, they've worked it out. Newcastle, we've got to do the same thing.
Maybe that's the Chief Harrigan. Maybe he's still involved with NIB, maybe, or something like that, and he wants that promoted. Look, one thing I think would be really cool for the Parramatta Indigenous jersey is going back to one of their original logos with the Aboriginal man with the spear. I think that'd be good. Although I guess the NRL probably wouldn't let them change their logo for a jersey.
I don't know the licensing rules around logos. I mean, I know relatively the licensing rules around the NRL logo. That has to be there, and you can't really play around with that. And there's even rules about what colours they have to be and what colours they're touching. And if you look up a guy, Jersey Tragic. I think he actually does some work with Emu, or what's now called EB2, and he had some stuff around how the licensing works on the badges. But how it works with the club logos, I'm not really sure. The rules around this seem to be ever-changing. So I know in the past teams have been able to change it, and Parramatta have changed it either for a season or for parts of a season. But I don't know if you can just sub it out for one round anymore. Not sure.
Yeah, I just think that'd be a nice touch to put that logo in there. But, I mean, I guess you got to have the current season logo in there, I guess. But, yeah, I just think that'd be a nice touch. I think they did that in 2017 when they were celebrating 70 years in the competition. They went back to that original logo. So, but that would be good to see, I reckon. Available at Parramatta Eels Club, I believe, for $140 for an adult's jersey. Also can get them at What's Your Team as well. So they've got them on order as well, so contact them, and if you want to, contact me and I'll give you a special discount code, and you'll get some money off there. Now, I was going to ask you something else, but I've just got a total...
My question to you, that $140 price tag through the Parramatta Eels Club, do you have to be a member to get that price?
I'll have to investigate that one, but I don't think so, because I think they just advertised that as a social thing. I didn't see any membership clauses or anything like that in there.
Okay. On the Eels, on the Eels website, not the Parramatta Eels Club, just plain old Eels website, they've got it at 160, but they have a thing at the top saying members get 15% off store wide, which would be around that 140 mark.
Yeah.
So maybe even a little less. So maybe that's that. I don't know.
Yeah. So speaking of jersey prices, how is the war on getting a decent jersey price happening? How is that going?
I think it's a floating. Well, it's not a floating market. There's elements. I've had some discussions with some industry professionals since, which have, I suppose, talked me down off the ledge a little bit, but also just to bring some reality to the situation. I would like to think that there could be a time where the jersey prices could come down a little bit, and the one caveat that we do have, the one saving grace we do have at the moment is, well, a couple. One is that if you're a member of a club, then you're going to get between 10 and 15% off. Two is that there's been a string of clubs doing little deals in and of themselves. Canberra, when they won the other night, did a 20% off deal on their away jersey. And apparently people messaged in and said, yeah, Penrith have done that before, the Bulldogs have done that before, or other clubs, which is great. At the start of the year, Newcastle Knights had a program where if you hand in a previous year's jersey, you can get 50% off this year's jersey. So there's some little wins there. I don't think the NRL is probably going to come and save us when it comes to club jerseys. So we're just going to have to be a little bit more squirreless and whatever ourselves to be a little bit penny pinching. But the one point, and I think I have made this point before, to be fair, jerseys have been $160, which is a premium price, but they have been $160 for probably the last 5-6-ish years.
Yeah, easy.
So while other things have increased in price, that's stayed the same. So on an inflation rate, it's steady. And apparently there's been studies done before that even when the prices have dropped, the rates of sales still stay the same. So that classic line we often hear is that, if they drop the price, then more jersey sales will happen. Apparently that's not really the case. At around that 150, 160 mark is seemingly where people keep buying. When you get to $200 though,
I've
for
seen
a training jersey,
yes,
that's a bit silly. So yeah, there's some other factors in that as to why that's the case. However, why the NRL team shop was selling them for $200 baffles me. So yeah, but at the end of the day, market forces will prevail. If it's $200 and everyone thinks it's ridiculous and doesn't buy it, then that's that. And really, that has to be the great marker of change. If you really think this is bad, then we have to band together in a kind of semi-communist fashion and say, we're not buying them. We're not buying them. The one thing that remains hanging over us like never before is the flood of jerseys from DH Gate and AliExpress and eBay that are fakes.
Yeah.
And that they're pretty high quality fakes. So it remains to be seen how that will impact things over the long run.
Do you think those high prices might be because the Origin teams are sponsored by banks, or?
No. I saw some people say that and say that they're so high because all the jersey sponsors want to cut back, like off the sales. That's not true. That just doesn't happen.
No, I probably won't buy one. A, because of the price, and B, because I just don't like that Westpac logo on the front. I think it's even on the Queensland one, it's white. On the New South Wales one, it's red. No.
And there's another prime example of it's so confusing about how jersey designers and sponsors play together. So Queensland came along. Our colours are maroon and white. It has to be white. Okay. New South Wales, we'll make it red. Why? Why not make it dark blue? Does it really matter? We can see a big W.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't particularly love, and this is just from a fan point of view, I don't like them having the same sponsor. I don't like them having the same jersey manufacturer. It's too friendly. We're enemies. We hate each other. Right. We don't want the same stuff. We don't want the same gear. For 1 year, remember Queensland always has their logo. It has State of Origin. It has the blue and the maroon, the two faces facing each other.
Yes.
And New South Wales never has that. For 1 year, they had it with Puma. I thought, no, they've sold out. Anyway, they got rid of it again, which is good. So we have no maroon on our jerseys, which is what we like. But yes, I hope they would go to differing manufacturers to create the rivalry again.
Well, I think with State of Origin jerseys, they should be just like the old days, especially New South Wales, just plain old light blue, I reckon. Sorry, sky blue. And I know Origin is a massive money turnover and spin and generator, but it should be just light blue, sky blue.
Yeah, I agree. The year, was it 2020, I think? They basically had an all sky blue jersey with just the little navy blue trimmings on the collar and on the end of the sleeves, and that was their best one. I was hoping, please win this series, because I only buy one if they win that series. Please win that series, and then I'll buy that jersey. Lost.
Yeah. Well,
so there goes the one chance of owning a good jersey.
That's it. Well, speaking of buying and selling jersey, I know we're getting off the track here a little bit, but is there anything you'd like to plug at the moment that you have running, selling, or anything at the moment?
The other thing I would say, I've got a couple of jerseys up at the moment and a few more to put up in the next day or so. If you are heading to Magic Round, now is really like your last chance to get your cool jersey for Magic Round. So good. We've got, I think, about a 2014, 2015 Parramatta jersey, blue with the gold hoops, coming very soon. Got a couple of Dolphins jerseys up there. I'm talking Redcliffe Dolphins. Got a Manly jersey. We've got North Sydney Bears. Bulldogs coming very soon. South Sydney just got in today a South Sydney Minty jersey. This was, I think, 2002-ish when Alight was the light globe sponsor on their chest.
Yes.
And it's predominantly white from the body down, but the chest is green and the midsection is red. It's got some sponsors on it, so it'll take some work to clean up. But yes, if you want something cool for Magic Round, you don't want to be a pleb like everyone else, go and check out Retro Rugba League on Instagram and TikTok. But Instagram's probably the best place to do some shopping. Also have some hats coming very soon. Hopefully they will land in the next couple of days. Very, very limited stock on those. So you can check all that out at retro, yes, _rugba_league, like Peter Volandis would say it.
That's it. Thank God for Peter Volandis, eh? What would you have named your Instagram if he didn't come along?
Who knows?
Is Magic Round is that like your sort of grand final for like selling like those retro older jerseys because of the event?
I don't know. Probably actually the start of the year is, and particularly with this Vegas kind of hyping it up. Yeah. The start of the year was probably a bit more frenzy-like than now. Things probably settled down a little bit. Teams are kind of fans are getting into the groove of how their teams are going. And so some fans aren't buying as much stuff as we would like, or South Sydney fans aren't really buying too much of anything at the moment. But yeah, this is the first time I'll ever actually be going to Magic Round. I'm going on the Saturday.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to not only the games and catching up with people, but just seeing the array of jerseys on display. I've got my Gold Coast Chargers jersey ready to go.
Nice.
And I'll have a Sydney City Roosters one to put on when the Roosters are playing too. So should be a good day.
Well, I did have Brett Plowman on the podcast last week, who played for the Gold Coast Chargers in their first ever semi-final side in 1997. So
I think his signature might have been on the Chargers jersey that I had that I just removed. So sorry, Brett. Sorry, Brett.
No, fair enough. Well, I'm sure we will definitely catch up at Magic Round for sure. I'll be heading up on the Saturday as well, so we'll get in touch with each other and say good day and have a chat again about more rugby league jerseys and rugby league and whatever else is going on. I know we got off a track a little bit about from the Indigenous jersey, but it's always good to hear your thoughts about the jerseys that are coming out. And listeners and viewers, if you want to know the latest about the new jerseys coming out, as he said, join Thom on Retro Rugba Leeg there on Instagram and TikTok, and he will give you all the information that you need to know, even some breaking stories as well.
Yeah, that's the place to be. And one of my specialties as well is doing a bit of a deep dive on the design. So when you see something and you think, why is it the way it is? Don't just say that's dumb. Go and check out at Retro Rugby League, and I've almost certainly done a deep dive on it to explain why does that jersey look the way it is. Sometimes the answer is because it is dumb, but most of the time it's because there's a story lying underneath.
That's it. Well, I know I like looking at other teams' jerseys as well as Parramatta ones, so very informative. So thank you, Thom, for joining me once again, and as I said, we'll catch up next Saturday or Sunday.
Will do. Good to see you on video, Troy, and I'll see you at Magic Round.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Parramatta Podcast. See you next time.